Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the Steel City Commuters Podcast. I am Austin Cairns, back here on Zoom once more with my good friend Nicholas Brown. And on today's episode of the Steel City Commuters, we are going to be talking about both the Stanley Cup Finals and the NBA Finals. That's right, it is championship week. Unfortunately, no teams from Pittsburgh are in it because A, the NBA doesn't have a Pittsburgh team, and B, the Pittsburgh Penguins are a tragedy. So, Nick, welcome back on Zoom. Of course, this is the trend for the next couple weeks since we are over the summer and you're in New Kent, I'm in Carnegie. How's things holding up with you, my good my man? Oh my God, words. It's tired. It's late night again.
It's okay. It's 11 o'clock. I've been yawning for the past half hour. Everything's going well. Seeing that you got a haircut, a little jealous given you can see that we're really growing out sides, everything. I need to get mine trimmed up. Just getting a little warm up
Yeah,
top.
yeah, Tony went a little shorter than usual, but hey, I mean, I needed to cut badly. I also shaved today too. Just trying to get that summer cut. It's gonna be hot these next couple days, so at least I'm not gonna be sweating too much.
Oh, looking hot. Oh, I thought you were referring to something else. I know for myself.
Oh, how flattering, Nick. How flattering.
Now, in all honesty, I do agree. It is going to be hot the next few days. We are getting into the summertime mode. I do need to get my summer haircut because I'm hot to begin with. Like I'm always in shorts. I'm always like overheated. So adding about 3 to 5 pounds on top, it's just going to make it hotter. So I need to literally trim. Maybe you should do that for me.
Me.
You can cut my hair. Barber Austin Carnes.
You know my sister's in the cosmetology, right? I could just have her cut your hair.
I'll save myself.
Hey,
Sorry,
you wanna know what?
Bella.
Nick, you wanna know what I tell her all the time?
What?
I say, not until I see a license, you're not going anywhere near my
I
hair.
agree. That's a good one. No license, no haircut.
Yep, that's what I tell her all the time.
Glad we're in the same boat then.
Yeah. Well, we were also in the same boat this past weekend. We actually got to meet up outside of Steel City for the first time in a while. You want to share that story?
We did. We were able to make it to the Pittsburgh, but again, we planned a day where there was an event. George Strait concert was in town. Lots of cowboys, lots of cowgirls.
Not enough cowgirls.
There was a massive amount of fans downtown. Home run Harry's, all towards, Grand Concourse, to Torpedo Honey, and then just, North Shore and all around town because, George Strait was in town. And I think George was also sold out too. There's some good from the pictures. It looks like he had a good time. Chris Stapleton, George Strait. I'm trying to think who else was in the group.
Parker McCollum.
Yeah. So we were hanging out Saturday. We tried to catch dinner at Home Run Harry's. It was busy, so we ended up at Papa Allen's. And I'll tell you, it was okay. Just wasn't my favorite.
Nick, you're too nice. It was god awful. It was
I don't want
awful.
to bash any restaurant. That's just not the person in me.
No,
The
I know.
I do have
Here's
to
the,
say though, the mozzarella sticks was the good part with the marinara, and
yeah,
I
no,
normally
that
don't like marinara.
I was just about to say that. No, the mozzarella sticks were good, but no, I am gonna bash them because I love Pop Allen's pizza. Like their pizza is phenomenal, but I was very disappointed in their burger. I don't even know what that meat was, but it was good. I mean, it held us over, which was nice. But the fact that that was also our first meals of the day, and we were still like, I don't know, but it was not bad. The mozzarella sticks were fire. I think we both downed them in like 5 minutes, honestly.
They were hot. The cheese was stringy. It was pulley cheese. It was
Yeah,
really
it was
good.
nice. It was nice.
Burger, the fries were good because my God, we had a salt crisis and a pepper crisis at the other end of the table. But
What you mean?
what you mean? Yeah, you used about 4 or 5 packs of salt and 2 packs of pepper. We had a salt crisis in Pittsburgh.
Well, hey, if you're not sneezing, it's not enough seasoning. That's what I was taught.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, you were taught that wrong because I'm sneezing when I'm around you in general.
Well, I guess you have enough seasoning then.
Oh God, yeah, you're enough seasoning then.
Yeah, I'm the flavor of the month.
God help us all.
Well, I think we also have some other big stuff to talk about. You won big at bingo. I won big on two jagoffs. What do you want to talk about first?
And I won big when we're talking about health stuff because I gotta get my wisdom teeth out.
Oh, that was the other big news. Yeah. How about that?
Looks like you're gonna have to find a replacement. When I don't know. I called Dr. Martone. I tried calling today, I didn't get an answer, so I'll call again tomorrow. And what? He's gonna say next week, and we have this wonderful big project that we're working on, and it's probably gonna interfere, but I hope not.
I hope not either. Hey, some advice from someone who has had all four wisdom teeth pulled. You're gonna feel like garbage the first couple days. Your mouth is gonna be sore, but after a week, you'll be fine. Just take care of yourself.
You told me I can't go to bingo. I'm gonna be laid up in bed. What?
I mean, if you want to have a bunch of cotton hanging out of your mouth, what are you gonna go? Bang out, bang out. You're not gonna be able to talk.
Guess I'll have to spend that money on lottery tickets.
Oh God, here we go with the lottery again.
I like the lottery. I
I mean,
like the
yeah,
lottery.
it's nice. I mean, I won off that $5 Monopoly card you hooked me on. That was nice.
I have actually a Monopoly sitting right here. Speaking of it,
Oh gosh,
I
let's
haven't.
see it.
Let me pick it up here. I'm trying to
You got
find
the blur feature off for once. We can actually see your. Oh, there it is. Is that a winner?
Yes, it is.
How much?
$5.
Oh, so you got your money's back.
I did.
Nice, good for
I
you.
like the Monopoly. The crosswords and the Blingo really have been getting me because I can sit there and scratch as I'm drinking my coffee and
My mom likes the little bingo ones.
the bingo. Yes, they have the $3 s'mores bingo.
Yep.
But you're gonna have to come visit me, you and LK, Lucas Coons, because I can't be getting my wisdom teeth out all alone. I need the support and of course that's only gonna make for better content on Still City that I'm not gonna be on, and I'm gonna need a replacement.
I mean, you could do a Zoom call one with in bed.
Okay.
I don't know if I would recommend you do that. You're gonna want to rest.
Lucas is gonna be my fill-in. I'm already naming him as my fill-in.
I'm okay with that. He's gonna have to hop on. I'm gonna have to teach him how to use Zoom.
Come on, if you don't know how to, well, you're gonna have to be in person.
Great.
But see, then I'm missing out. I don't like that idea. Never mind.
We'll probably the week before you get him out, we'll probably do a bonus episode in advance just to have something in the vault. That's probably what we'll do. We'll do like a game show or something.
Game show, but I know, but it would be funny if I wasn't on for an episode. See how the views do. Play out with it. Play around with it.
Well, this one last week I gotta deal with you. That'd be nice.
Yeah, okay. I deal with you every day. Call me every day. God, no other friends to talk to. I'm the only one.
Yeah, I'm lonely.
That was our friend group. That's why we
Yeah,
each other.
what do you mean by that?
What do you mean? What do I mean? If
Oh,
you're not on
Kevin?
the, if you're not on the phone with me, you're either on the phone with Lucas or Kevin. If I'm not on the phone with you, I'm either on the phone with Lucas or Kevin, and vice versa. Or you're going to
Yeah.
Senior Sunset like Lucas did, and I totally would recommend going to Senior Sunset.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's fun. I
You
mean,
said
hey,
you didn't know what the hell that was. You're like, what is Senior Sunset? I'm like, you watch the sun collapse and the moon come in.
yay.
It's fun.
Sounds like fun.
It is. Get to play cornhole, hang with your friends. Um, have a good time. Relax in your PJs at your school grounds on the grass.
I don't lay in the grass in my PJs that people I go to school with. I don't know how to do that at camp.
Well, you play cornhole, you jam to music, you
Listen, I whooped everybody's ass at cornhole at my senior picnic. It was
well,
nice.
guess
And
what?
badminton.
But you surely lost at your camp to your father.
Really. We got a smirk on your face. You can't see it because I'm talking right now, but he has a smirk on his face.
And I'm better cornhole than you.
Okay, we have a wager. Before we get into the Stanley Cup and NBA Finals, I wanted to ask you one more thing, Nick.
Me.
Yeah, I don't know if you see the shirt behind me or not, but I've been doing a couple interviews.
I know that podcast.
Yeah, it's a different podcast. It's not as good as Steel
Oh,
City.
I'm on two Jagoffs. I'm an honorary Jagoff. That's
Yeah,
why.
you're gonna be
That's
an
why that
honorary one.
podcast sounds familiar. I listen every Thursday and Sunday
Every Thursday, exact on Spotify, YouTube,
on
iHeart,
Spotify, Apple, Facebook,
Amazon.
YouTube, wherever you
Yep.
get your podcasts.
Yeah. And I think that podcast, the one that's conveniently on that t-shirt place behind me, they had a special guest on earlier this week.
A
I don't know
wrestler,
if you
right?
Yeah, it was a wrestler. I just the name's on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of it.
Andrew Palace.
That's the guy.
Right?
Andrew
Andrew. What,
Palace.
in the media hub?
It was in the Media Hub at Point Park University. Look at you, Nick. That's context clues to a T right there.
I listened. We had a very interesting call. And Andrew was my guy. Left me with a lot of quotes to remember him with.
Now, I just want to get an outsider's opinion. I know me and you talked about this on the phone already, but just for viewers of Steel City and possible viewers to Two Jagoffs, what's your opinion on that interview overall? Because I have some final thoughts on it I would like to share with you on this platform if you don't mind.
I'm not a wrestler. I don't have anything to do with wrestling. You know that. But Andrew actually kept me entertained. One, because he talked about pickles, and I love that segment. And you don't like pickles, and you even took the pickles off your burger today. So I hope Andrew's listening to hear this because that's just blasphemy. But I think Andrew provided a lot of insight when talking about wrestling. And one of the quotes that he did stuck with me was try watching wrestling without the commentary. It's not the same. That's with any sport. If you don't know the background of it, if you don't understand what's going on, try watching it without, because try watching basketball when you have your voice overlapping it. It provides some kind of the clues with outsider information, providing the stats regarding a certain player, but providing how much time is left, providing who's in the paint, who has the ball. The commentary is very important. What Andrew did is he provided commentary not just on wrestling, but all major topics, and kind of got the conversation going and kept viewers engaged, not just for wrestling, but all of the above.
Absolutely. And this is no disrespect to any other guests that I've had on. I felt like I was able to bounce off ideas better with him than others because of how passionate both of us are with professional wrestling. Obviously, he is a wrestler himself. He has stepped in the ring. The closest thing to wrestling I've done is get my head and back bashed in by Lucas on our social media pages. But in all fairness, we both grew up watching wrestling. I've been watching my whole life. He's been watching it his whole life. He's a part of it for most of his life. And being able to have him share stories and give insights, something that I'll tell you off camera, Nick, that will share on TGI Golf later this week as well. Palace ended up staying an extra hour and a half just to talk business with me.
I feel
BS.
bad for him.
Well, you knock it off over there. Don't make me come the new Ken this late. Hey, there's no traffic right now. I'll gladly come over there.
Okay. I feel bad for AP. He had to endure whatever blasphemy, non crap was said after being on camera.
No, you stop it. But in all seriousness, Palace was. I freaking love Andrew Palace. I've known him well before I even got into IWC. Like this was back being a fan years prior. I'm talking pre-COVID days. Even back when I was in high school. And he remembers me, and I remember him, which is sick. That just shows the impression they leave. And without spending too much time on this, because I know we still got a lot more to get into in this episode, I will say that for anybody out there, I don't really like talking about Two Jackoffs and Steel City as much because I want to try and keep both podcasts in their own entity. But that interview right there, I think might be my best piece of work I've done in terms of podcasting.
I liked Andrew, kept me engaged. I surely don't want to get hurt by him because I'm fragile, but Andrew would never hurt me. But Andrew provided a lot of great context, had a lot of quotes, probably number one best interview out there.
And I will say this in closing as well. We had a very, without going into details, a very interesting debate with the other half of new management on the phone about said interviews. Maybe that's something we can revisit one day, maybe on this podcast. But yeah, it was a very interesting phone call to say the least.
Interesting. But again, new management is never divided. We're always stronger together.
We'll see about that.
I wanted to make that because you try and break us up, and I just don't think it's a fair advantage point to play that way. You hear from both sides. New management is stronger than ever, and we're really excited to what we're working on behind the scenes.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think it's time for us now to get into our little sports segment that we have on today's episode. Of course,
Yeah.
there's really not too much going on in the sports world outside of both major championships in both the NHL and NBA. I think we should start off with the NHL where things are going to go a little quicker. The Stanley Cup final is set, and it is a rematch. How about this one, Nick? We got the Florida Panthers taking on the Edmonton Oilers. Of course, the Oilers defeated the Dallas Stars in 5 games in the Western Conference Finals, while the Florida Panthers defeated the Carolina Hurricanes in 5 games as well. Here's the thing that I'm just going to say real quick before I pass this over to you. The Carolina Hurricanes has been the biggest disgrace in Major League sports in conference championship games. And this goes across all 4 major sports. I will debate that. The fact that at one point they lost nearly 14 straight Eastern Conference Finals games, they are, I think, 2-8 or 2-9. I don't have the exact number off the top of my head, but they are very bad once it comes to postseason time within the last decade. The Carolina Hurricanes are a team that constantly makes it due to the fact that they are a part of the Metro Division in the NHL. But from time and time again, they just continue to sell in the playoffs. They can't make it to the big game. They can't win the big game. And the Florida Panthers, a team who honestly should not have been there again this year, squeezed right back in because yet again the Carolina Hurricanes showed they were frauds. On terms of the Western Conference side, I bet on Dallas all year. You know that, Nick. I picked
Yes.
Dallas from the very beginning. I was rolling with them. And yet again, they lost in the Western Conference Finals. They lost to a team, though, in Edmonton that is hungry, that is looking for vengeance, that nearly came back in Game 7 last year and won the Stanley Cup as a whole. Connor McDavid wants a ring. Draisaitl wants a ring. Skimmer, who is playing lights out as the goalie, wants a ring. They are going to get that ring if they continue to play their way they're playing. But the Florida Panthers know them. Bobrovsky knows them. This team knows them. It's going to be a very interesting game. I believe this might be one of the best championship games that we've seen in a very long time, especially out of the NHL. But boy, oh boy, Nick, I'm looking forward to it. So we're not doing predictions just yet, but I want to get your thoughts on all that.
I believe this is the first Cup final rematch in consecutive years since 0809
Wow.
for the Panthers and Oilers.
That's actually a good stat. I didn't even know that.
Yes,
Okay.
that's according to NHL.com.
Well, that's a pretty reliable source.
Yes. Is that where I got that? I don't know. Maybe CBS. But yeah, first Cup final rematch in consecutive years since 0809.
Wow. Okay.
They also had another stat too. It's the 12th time in NHL history and the second time in 40 years that the same two teams are meeting in the Cup final. It's the first time it happened since '09. So, can this legacy continue? Are we going to be seeing a lot more of these repeats consecutive years, year after year? Is this like setting the stage for a new era in sports?
I mean, it very well could. Very well could. What is your predictions going into this Stanley Cup? Who do you got winning in how many games?
My bracket is busted. We all know that.
Your bracket's been busted since the first round, my friend.
Yes. Um, I don't know. It's hard. You know, I'm gonna go with the Oilers. I think it's gonna take them, what is it? Best out of seven, right?
Yes, sir.
I think it's gonna be 4-3 at the end.
Oh, so it's going to go to 7 games.
I think it's going to seven.
Well, last year it did as well. And
History
Florida,
repeats itself.
and at one point, Florida was up 3-0, and Edmonton tied it 3-3, went on a 3 game winning streak, and ended up losing in the championship. So history could repeat itself. But there's a very famous quote by a very famous man, Nick Brown, and I know you're not a wrestling fan, but his name is Ric Flair, and
Okay.
he once said, "To be the man, you got to beat the man." And as of right now, the Florida Panthers is that man. They are the reigning, defending Stanley Cup champions. And to become that man, you must topple them at the top of the pedestal, which is where they sit. Edmonton is hungry. Edmonton wants vengeance. Connor McDavid wants to solidify himself as an all-time great. And the only way he can do that, the only way he can stop the Ovechkin, stop the Crosby comparisons, is to be on their level, and that is to win a ring. I don't believe he's going to do that, though, Nick. I got the Panthers in 6. This Panthers got better goalies. This Panthers team got better defense. This Panthers team is sharper. Yes, they had an easier Eastern Conference final matchup, but I believe that's what's going to take them over the top. You see, Edmonton is beat up. Dallas really beat them up in that Western Conference game. Yeah, it only went to 5 games, but they were very beat up. They were very out of it. They nearly lost 2 to 3 games in the final stretch. So Edmonton's going to kind of come in this game a little gassed compared to Florida, which I think is a concern. And if Florida's able to get up on them early and keep that lead, then I think they'll be fine. Last year, they nearly gave it up. I don't think they're going to make the same mistake 2 years in a row.
It's very hard though to be repeat and consecutive champions. We saw that happening. It's hard because you saw what happened in the NFL this year. Chiefs tried to do it, didn't happen. It's hard when you get that momentum. There's gonna be a time you're gonna hit a brick in the road, and it's normally in the critical moments, crucial moments of the season. And this is a really piece of history that could be a block in the road for them.
I think so, but here's the thing. With as familiar of opponents as they are, I don't feel like that's going to be as big of a concern because I get what you're saying, but if we're talking strictly hockey terms, I mean, the Tampa Bay Lightning did it a couple years ago. They were repeat champions. The Penguins did it back in 16 and 17. So it's really not as uncommon in the NHL as it is in like the NFL or the NBA or the MLB. So I don't think that's really fair when talking about these two teams, especially because let's be honest, neither one of these teams were projected to even make the playoffs this year. A lot of people were expecting teams like Vegas and Dallas and LA to go to the top on the western side of things. A lot of people expected like New Jersey and Washington to be favorites. And obviously, we saw how that went. So I think that there's still a legit chance, but Nick, I'm not mad at your prediction at all because guess what? I want Edmonton to win. If you were telling me, Austin, who you want as a fan going into this series, I want Edmonton. I want to see Connor McDavid make history. I want to see Skinner and Draisaitl make history. But in reality, when I'm looking at the numbers and I'm looking at what I've seen from these two teams all year and last year, I think history's gonna repeat itself. Florida in six.
Okay.
All right, so that was a nice little NHL segment. You ready to move to the NBA?
Already, I like basketball. I'm ready for this.
Well, I'm going to give you the floor first, then, my friend. We got a new matchup: the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Indiana Pacers, who's making the championship for the first time in 16 years. 2000 was the last time the Pacers were in the NBA championship. They're taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Pacers, of course, defeated the Knicks in 6 games, while the Thunder won in 5 against the Minnesota Timberwolves. MVP and SGA is over on the Thunder, Nick. What's your thoughts on both of these teams going into this championship?
Well, here's another good stat for you, and I think NBC News points this out too. If Indiana wins this season's NBA title, it would become the second fourth seeded champion in league history and the first since 1981 when you're talking about seeding. You know, they suggest that Oklahoma City meets the NBA's even tougher championship standard because of the top 3 seeds. While Oklahoma finished the regular season with the West top seed, while Indiana was fourth. This is a pretty good matchup because you kind of have to look at the regular season, preseason, and how the playoffs have matched up. And you kind of have to look at it all because you could say that Indiana is coming in as an underdog. And do underdogs do really well in the NBA when their playoffs happen? Yeah, I don't know. The stats really don't support it, but if I would have to, I'd pick Indiana over here.
Ooh, and how many games?
4 again.
Oh, you mean 7 or 4?
I think it's going to be another 4-3.
Oh, 4-3. I thought you meant in 4. Okay, how about to say? I didn't know. I was about to say,
No, I
you
think
think they're
it's going to be
sweeping them?
another. I think it's going to be another 4-3.
Okay, another 7 game series. Look, this
I,
Oklahoma. Oh, God.
I
Sorry.
was going to say, I just think we're at this point in sports era that it's not going to be a sweep. It's not going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be a close tie because that's what keeps the viewership in. That's what keeps the money flowing. All the commercials, all the ads, all the different stadiums trying to rack in the money. I think if this, I don't want to say, yes, the playoffs are scripted to say at least, but I think getting the amount, like there's going to be more games than we've seen in the past.
Experience is going to play a big time factor in this game. A lot of people, although this is Tyrese Halliburton's first championship game that he's playing in, although this is the Pacers' first championship game in 16 years, they're technically the more experienced team. Pascal Siakam was a part of that 2019 Raptors NBA team. A lot of the guys on this team, like a TJ McConnell, are veterans. So the Pacers have a lot of veterans that they're spreading the floor with. The Oklahoma City Thunder, on the other hand, this is all a relatively young team. The Williams, you got Dort, you got Holmgren, you got SGA. These are all relatively young guys. Guys that's been in the league for less than 5 years. And last year, they nearly made it. They were one series win away from the NBA Finals last year. So this is a team that belongs here. This is a team that deserves to be here. This is a team that's worked their ass off to get here. But they weren't able to get over the top last year. And that was obviously because of conflict going on in the Western Conference. And now that the Jokic's are out of the equation, now that the Dallas Mavericks, the LeBrons, the LA Lakers, the Currys, and the Warriors, now that they are all gone and they are all home, SGA and the Oklahoma City Thunder can focus on the ultimate prize, and that is winning the NBA Finals. The issue is, though, this Indiana Pacers team is so good at spreading the court with so many different players and so many different guys that it's hard to stop. They're a very unorthodox team. Tyrese Halliburton doesn't need to go out there and score 25, 30 points a game. He can literally go out there and score 5 points a game, but still have 12 assists, which honestly racks up more points for the Pacers because he's getting other players involved. He's letting McConnell shoot from the wing. He's letting Siakam do work inside the paint. He's able to marathon. He's able to get to a bunch of different guys, and that's honestly the winning success. That's the recipe to success right there for the Pacers, Nick, is that they have a lot of guys to utilize. The Thunder do too, but there's a lot of mismatches I see. So unless they can win the battle in the paint and they can eliminate some of those turnovers, which is what costed them the finals last year, I don't see why the Thunder wouldn't win this. The Pacers, though, I'm 50-50. So if you want my honest predictions, again, this is another series where I want the Pacers to win, but I'm going to go Thunder in six.
Thunder in six.
Thunder in six.
Disagree.
I know we disagreed on both, but I got to tell you, this Thunder team should sweep the Pacers, but I think the Pacers are going to get a lucky win or two.
If I lose this bet, I can shave my head. There we go.
So you're just asking to go bald.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. What are you really that hot over there in New Ken? Do you not have
Yeah.
AC?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, there is one piece of NBA news I wanted to touch on if you don't mind, and that is regarding the Knicks actually. The Knicks, this is the best New York Knicks team we've seen in a while, and they are finally eliminated from the playoffs. And they are releasing head coach Tom Thibodeau, who spent the last 5 seasons as the Knicks head coach, hired back in 2020, released after their Eastern Conference Finals game. And I got a little bit of a rant I want to go on. Why are you getting rid of Tom Thibodeau? This is a guy right here who has brought you the most winning success that you have seen in decades. This is a guy who's taken to your first Eastern Conference final game in God knows how long. This is a guy who made a generational trade for a generational talent in Jalen Brunson. This is a guy who completely revamped your offense. This is a guy who completely revamped Madison Square Garden. And this is a guy who has brought a new light to the city of New York, a new light that we have not seen since the 80s, Nick. I'm very disappointed in this move. Leon Rose, this is the worst decision that you have made in my lifetime. Why the hell are you getting rid of the guy that has brought you success? Yes, I get it. 2 years ago, you were second round exits. This year, you were Eastern Conference Finals exits. But at least you got to the game. It's not like you've been there for 4 years in a row and can't get to the championship. This was your first time there in God knows how long. First time in Thibodeau's era that you were there. Give him another year. Give him another chance to work with some of these players. Brunson's not getting any younger, but still, come on. How can you expect a guy to win a championship just like that with how stacked the rest of the East is? It's very disappointing. Very upset with Leon Rose. Very upset with the New York Knicks. Awful move.
I was going to say ESPN pointed in the article today when talking about why did Tom get fired. They go on to say, quote, the defense was at times an issue, particularly against the Pacers in the conference finals, though that shouldn't come as a huge surprise with Brunson and Towns operating as the team's point guard and center. New York could also shoot more three-pointers and adopt a faster pace offensively. And they just kind of go on to say, who should the Knicks consider for the vacancy? They throw in the most obvious candidate is Michael Malone, who led the Denver Nuggets to the 22-23 title before a surprise firing with 3 games left in the season. They also go on to say that Malone wouldn't be able to rely on Nikola Jockey in New York, but his success working with offensive stars who have defensive question marks would make him a solid fit for the roster. But they also go on to say that demanding Malone has a similar personality to Thibodeau, which could be a point against him if Knicks management wants to go in a new direction. If not Malone, they point to Frank Vogel, Mike Budenholzer. They've also won titles this decade, and their inability to wrangle the messy Phoenix Suns shouldn't be held against them either.
So they would want to go to a guy who brings them success to a guy who couldn't keep a job in Phoenix or Milwaukee, a guy who lost his job with only 3 games left in the regular season before making the playoffs in Denver, and then another guy who also can't hold a job. Nice job, Knicks. Nice job.
That's according to ESPN from who should consider, and they conclude with the Knicks might be able to cast as wide as a net as they desire, as the glamour and prestige of the job could attract just about any candidate at basketball operations. Leon Rose is interested in interviewing. Could Jay Wright, who won NCAA titles with Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, and Mikal Bridges at Villanova, be coaxed out of retirement for his first NBA job? What about fellow 2-time national champion Dan Hurley? who flirted with the Lakers gig last summer before signing a new contract in Connecticut. They kind of say all options are on the table for the most attractive coaching job, but they go on to say a reigning conference finalist with bona fide stars that's competing in a weak conference in the biggest market in the country is kind of what's pointing to who's going to eventually get the job.
See, that's the biggest issue with them. The Knicks were able to topple teams that we didn't expect. Boston going down with the Tatum injury was obvious because like an obvious factor that a new team's going to make it. And the Knicks very well easily could have been that new team. And Nick, you pointed out perfectly, there was no defense. And that's something I pointed out earlier in the season. Listen, the pick and roll is great between Brunson and Towns, but where's the defense with that? Yeah, you have a pick and roll, but guess what? You're eliminating two guys from backtracking down court. So the fact of the matter is, if you can't get a solidified defense, how are you going to win games? And that's entirely why Bridges was traded to the New York Knicks to bring a new sense of defense. That's why they moved on from a Dante DiVincenzo. That's why they moved on from a Julius Randle because they wanted to bring in new players. They wanted to have a new light. They wanted to bring in some team chemistry. And you point out the Villanova chemistry between Hart and Brunson and Hart and, Hart and Brunson. So I'm just very disappointed in this Knicks team, Nick. I don't even know if you could tell me or not. I'm so stressed. It's 11:41 at night, and I'm thinking about the New York Knicks. What a disgrace. What a disgrace.
Good news is the job's open. We're both available.
No, I'm good. I'd rather do carpentry than take the New York Knicks head coaching job.
Why? That's money that we could eventually spend.
Okay, never mind. Knicks, we're hiring.
Go fast. And Lucas can be our assistant manager.
All right, Lucas can be assistant manager.
There we go.
That was a quick episode of Steel City. This one went by pretty quick.
Yeah, there's not much sports news to talk about. It's like dead.
If you think it's dead now, wait until both of the finals wrap up.
And we'll just be putzing around ourselves and we'll be having Lucas call in.
Hmm. We should do like a show and tell episode one day. We're both in our rooms. We could probably show some stuff off. Show the audience some souvenirs and stuff that we have.
Oh, souvenirs.
Yeah, that's why I brought it.
Talking about souvenirs, want to give a shout out to my neighbor, bingo buddy, Lisa. Lisa's a big time listener of Still City. I can tell you that. They were at Live Casino this weekend for bingo. I can't wait till I can go, Austin. Less than 2 years. I'm counting down. I love big bingos. Anyways, Lisa thought of me and brought me this Live Casino little souvenir, this cup that I got it tonight at bingo. I'm ready to start, ready to fill this up with some liquid.
Hell yeah.
With you, of course, and Lucas.
Me?
No, I don't know anybody else named Austin Cairns. Yeah, you.
I mean, I don't really have any. The closest souvenir that I have to me is this, which you already seen it before, but I'll just show you again because I think it's pretty cool. I got a little American flag flask that I'm going to take to camp.
All hell
That's
the
pretty cool.
USA.
Huh?
All hell USA.
All hell USA. Yeah. Do you remember where I got this from?
New York City?
Yeah, New York. I got it in the one store. I just saw it there. I never had a flask before, so I was like, oh, this is cool.
Pretty good memory for a young age.
Do you? Yeah, I was really, hey, I was very coherent and very on point in New York.
Oh, yeah. We know that as the biggest lie of the century, and I think everybody watching this podcast even knows that.
What you mean?
What you mean?
Would you like to elaborate?
Elaborate. Oh, New York City was the best time because poor Austin Carhenge was very lost in Amazon Whole Foods, and I had a babysit.
You didn't
That's the short,
babysit.
that's the bridge version of it.
The bridge version. Okay. Okay.
I like
Well,
this. I do.
it's a nice cup. Well, Nick, I just want to say thank you so much for hopping on Zoom as always. And I want to thank the audience as well so much for tuning in like they do every week on Facebook, Spotify, and YouTube. Episode 22 is around the corner. For anybody out there that have any ideas, suggestions, recommendations, leave some comments down below. We might even do a Q&A episode where you guys can leave some questions for Steel City, like an Ask Steel City anything type of episode. So leave some questions down below that you would like to hear from me and Nick. We will gladly answer it. We're going to try and plan out some game shows as well for the next couple weeks just to get to know each other a little more, even though I feel like we've already got to the point where we know each other pretty well. I don't think we really need to play a game for that, but just to have some fun at least.
Yes, and also tune into two Jagoffs because I will be premiering very shortly on two Jagoffs, of course.
Very shortly, next week, actually. You will be on a week from tomorrow.
Thursday.
Yes. Yep.
From Thursday. Honorary.
Thursday, June 12th, Nick Brown will be making his two Jagoffs debut.
I gotta get some two Jagoffs merch.
You do. T-shirts right there.
I'll take it. 25.
25?
25.
30, you got a deal.
26.
28.
10.
10? The hell? You, you went
That's
down
what
$15?
that's what you did to me the one day when I think on the phone last week.
Oh my gosh. Actually, I'm gonna keep my
Five.
thoughts to myself.
5.
5. Give me a fist bump and it's a deal.
For free? Perfect.
No, $5 on a fist bump.
Okay.
All right, here. Boom. Here. Here's your shirt. It's all
Okay.
yours. Yeah. You have to come get it though. I'm not coming to New Ken.
I know how to take the G2, and I know the G2 from your house.
I would hope it's a circle.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, so much for tuning in to Steel City again. I see we're running out of time again, as always. Stay tuned for
That's why we need to
episode.
be back in the media hub.
We really do. I hate having a time limit, man. I do.
Unless you want to pay.
I'm not paying right
I'm
now.
not
We're
paying.
good.
So that's a waste of money.
Now we can do 40 minutes. We're good.
Sorry, Zoom.
Yeah, sorry guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Steel City episode 21. 22 will be out next Wednesday, along with Nick Brown being on two Jagoffs next Thursday. Lots of content that we have for you guys next week, so make sure you stay tuned. Nick, any final words?
It's 11:47. What a thoughtful day. What a day. We'll see y'all next week.
Yes, we'll see you all next week. Peace.
See ya.